Hello everybody. I hope you guys can hear me and you see my screen. Next level of Arch-Viz is the topic today. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yeah, all good?
Alles gut.
Alles gut, great. So let me just jump into it very quick. My name is Markus. I'm an architect, 3D artist, and passionate table tennis player. I was born and raised in Leipzig and have opened 2 offices, one in Munich and one in Leipzig for Arch-Viz. I'm also teaching at the university, the Technical University in Munich, since 2016. And coming to the topic and the question, what's the next level of Arch-Viz? Which levels did we complete successfully the last years, and which tools did we use and why? I would say this is kind of a mind map, and some of the questions I want to go through with you from the beginning many years ago till now with fixed visuals. So while I was studying architecture, I have worked as an intern in Los Angeles in a quite famous architectural office. They did always crazy stuff, and in the beginning our team was designing the interior for the Hotel W group and apartments and so on, and we're quite often in conceptual phases. So yeah, that means that we had also to design quite double curved shapes, and that was quite a challenge. And that also was the reason why it was necessary to do everything in 3D for fast visual response and so on. So this was kind of the start, how I got into 3D. Yeah, and besides that, I was not really good in modeling and physical models. So yeah, I was jumping fast to 3D stuff. But of course, I didn't do the really crazy, awesome lobby stuff, the prestigious stuff. I was doing door handles and nice wardrobes as an intern. But so here you see my first rendering 2000. Oh, what was it? 2007, I guess. My first professional rendering. And later on, when I moved back to Germany, Berlin, and I worked still for Graft, we're more clear about the functionality, the forms. It was more clean, and of course, in LA, we're more playing around and testing shapes. So it was quite the opposite. And this one, which you see, was on a construction phase. So the precise modeling was very important to us. We did that, was a loft in Hamburg, and we did that for the carpentry fabrication. So a really different field, but still all 3D. And sure, this is a photo. Thank you, Tobias, for sharing it. And so yeah, there was a quite huge contrast. In 2011, I switched then to from being an architect to a 3D artist. So this role was pure 3D artist. I mean, it was still important to be an architect, but I got quite specialized in the field of visualization. Like you see at the Guangzhou Science Center from 2014, or the Customer Information Center, that was always important to tell visual stories, to find a nice and the right mood and atmosphere to for each individual story which wants to be told. So It had to fit to the project itself. It had to fit to the environment, like on the right side to the Black Forest. And yeah, we did both real projects in a way, which were under construction, and we had to take care of the competitions. And yeah, of course, competitions were more interesting, more foggy, and yeah, we were a small team, but we really liked to do the moody things. This project was also a competition in Berlin. Important was at that time always to be fast and to bring the feedback from the architects, the in-house architects, to the image, which was not always that easy, because this so-called real-time render engine was not available. So we had to come up with a fast post-production. And this is kind of the matte painting style, I would say. So at that time, just to show you how we did it, kind of look behind the scenes, I would say. You see now on the left side the raw rendering, and on the right side our final render. And yeah, there was a lot of Photoshop behind. Of course, we had to change things immediately, which was only possible in Photoshop 10 years ago. And if we compare it to a recent project from our studio, 2023, you see on the left side the rendering, and on the right side the photoshopped file. And just as a quick jump to the latest things, there's some things happened, or let's say many milestones were in that time, and we kind of made it from these 50% 3D from this part and 50% or even more Photoshop to, yeah, more than 90% 3D render, 3D staffage, of course, vegetation and so on. And yeah, even the color is right in the facade. We don't have to shop it that much anymore. So here we are at Fixed Visuals, my creative studio. I founded it in 2015, specialized in portraying unbuilt architecture. Yeah, we're passionate about visual stories within the architectural field. Just to give you a small intro to the clients, they're very different, and of course they're from detail-loving architects to clear and highly efficient property developers. Of course, for them, it's as long as it looks good and as a modern furniture, they're happy. Yeah, and of course, they're real estate agents and agencies. They're kind of in between those crazy detailing feedback lovers and pure, I like the image, that's it, thanks and bye. Yeah. So let me show you our showreel. Okay. So in the beginning, we're doing only images, and the next level was 2017 with more 360 panoramics and so on. And we just moved from tool to tool a bit more and more. That we saw in the end that it's quite important to give the client kind of a matrix. So we call it a matrix of possibilities. So kind of the communication tools, of course, it shifted from visuals to a communication tool. And what that means, I can show you here. That's kind of our latest matrix, which helps the client to understand everything. And together we can find out what the best is for them. So you see in the top, the classic options. Most important are images, and from there we got also drone shots and animations, or the web viewer, which I'm coming to later. And on the bottom, there's the immersive tool. Yeah, and this is also kind of our next level, our technical level, and a big milestone. We're doing it with a game engine with Unreal. But yeah, let's jump first to some classics. Of course, that's the important base, and on top of this comes the immersive stuff. Here you see the Heimeran office tower in Munich. We have supported them with images and 360 panoramics during marketing and distribution. We did many images for them, but I personally like this picture most because it shows a very moody glimpse of the tower. So sometimes it's better to show a close-up with soft lighting in instead of showing like everything and burning sun and everything is bright. And yeah, for these images, for instance, we're also flying with drones and doing it on our own to have kind of the most control for position and lighting and so on. So one of our team members is also a photographer, which is very important. Like visualizations are like digital portraits. It's like a photography. Or this daycare facility image, again a close-up to see materiality and details. And yeah, as 3D artist, you start also quite early comparing your own project, like what you're working on, with reality to simulate realistic lighting, to model nice geometry details, and to tell in the end a nice visual story. For this client, we had to design and render their background shop windows. It was very important for the client because they're located right at the famous Marienplatz, or Mary's Square in Munich. It's a super huge window, and yeah, the main focus was the 360 environment and how it comes together with architecture. Yeah, so the topic was nature and architecture. But I will show you later on more of this quite special project. So the variety of our projects is really big. On the one hand, it's the scale, which is different, and on the other hand, it's the typology. So you see a business area in Tutzing, near a nice lake south of Munich, including hotel, daycare, apartments, and sure, we also did drone shots for this project. So what you see on the right side, the image consists of the rendering in the middle with the 5 houses, like the green, lamella, and the pizza piece, and the 3 others, and all this, the other stuff is is a photography picture. Different scale, zoom in. So images are most of the time a kind of future perspective, I would say. So both images show very expensive apartments which were already built, but yeah, either the spaces were too packed, too crowded, or not open, or not exclusive, or was too empty. So there's always something which was, especially for these two projects, an issue. And that's why the agencies needed kind of home staging, 3D home staging. Of course, especially on the right side, they gave us pictures of from this building, like exactly this one, and we did not use it. We just used the background, but we had to make sure that it kind of looks like the images. Another really nice typology is this historic building style. So we have many of old historic buildings in Leipzig, and the problem is, of course, that they look kind of bad on unrenovated, and our task is to show them in the final stage, sure. But besides selling purpose, the client also uses the images to for the building department in Leipzig. Yeah, so it's also a planning purpose. And that's also the reason why the images have to be really precise. I personally love the details of the buildings. Like every level is different, and they have statues and gables and columns in the facades. And yeah, this client was actually also one of my first clients I've worked with, and we're still working together. So thanks to Immovaria, this is really great, and they sending us every year such great, beautiful images, or no, buildings, and we make images out of it. So yeah, that's really fun. Health and care is also a field which we're working in for quite a long time. So the client is building all over Germany. They're buying the plots and developing and doing all the construction and everything, and the nursing homes or daycare center. And yeah, we're also happy to be part of the team. I feel kind of like we're really into it. And they like, for instance, also this photography art style with a portrait format, which you see on the left. So it's not always just about showing the building like this. It's what you can do with a free space. How's your aspect ratio? What's the best for the building in an art way even sometimes. And with this series of images, it was good to create a theme from far away, getting closer, showing the yard, and then being in the house. that's something we do quite often whenever we have a series of images. And of course, you work with the content, or well, content is quite hard with the staffage, which is kind of, yeah, they're the old people, and with the identity of the building, and you have to show this in the images, of course. Sometimes the projects are very big and they have high complexity. So for this reason, we started some years ago with our 360 web viewer. And with this tool, we can manage the project to make it kind of look easy and more clear. So it was also the first step into interactivity, I would say. So on the right side, you see the starting image when you enter the homepage with all the little circles, and you can interact with them, and then you dive into a 360 image world. I just recorded the screen so that you get it. I think you guys have seen something like this before. It's not the latest, most crazy stuff, but what I liked was that the viewer kind of consists of panoramics, so it's easy to use and everybody can jump into it. There's no crazy hardware requirement or something like this, and the base are the images. So that means that the quality of our 2D images are similar or the same to the 360s. So we kind of need this combination. If we give the client the chance doing the thing like 2D, then we also have to deliver the same quality on 360. And I just did not want to lose this kind of qualities in the images in interactivity. So at this time, the quality of walkthroughs that was not that nice, not that good, and 360s were quite, yeah, they were really helpful, or they are still helpful. Like this project is, yeah, 1.5 years ago. So another field which I personally like is the hotel typology. This project we communicate a lot with our architect, with the architecture office, and they push us into the moody, foggy atmosphere, which I love. It always creates nice emotional images. And when it comes to fog and mood, we're coming back. We're closing the circle to some competition images. It was a research lab for our Munich-based architecture office and friends, former called HDR Architects. And yeah, it's nice to see the whole building, but again, I can just recommend it playing with the distances to the house, doing a central perspective to make it more relaxed, more calm, so that you can focus, especially when we have lamellas. It's of course nice that they kind of close in this perspective. And yeah, just playing around with different compositions. And here we are again, my favorite from last year. Well, it's something really totally different. Not the classic architectural style, please build something, here are the plans and let's do it. Of course, it was like a totally open playground, and the task was to create 6 sets of monochrome images, and main topic was, as I already said, the nature and architecture and how to bring it together. Right, so I just want to show you some of these sets. I'm sure my artist enjoyed it a lot, working in kind of the sandbox style, free to create and do what they want. Of course, they had some boundaries and they were given, but in general, it was a huge playground. Also to see the images print on different materials later on the windows with different sizes, some were like huge, was very impressive and strong to me. So here we are, next level of Arch-Viz. I would say that was really quite a big next level, and it's about interactivity and the immersive way how to tell stories, still visual stories. We're doing this in Unreal, and to be honest, the architecture industry is quite slow with that, with VR, and we just started 2-3 years ago. We're still fighting for for it to make it work within the client portfolio. And yeah, so that's now we're back at the matrix, and you see this interactive model, so-called. It's quite easy for the client that you tell it's an interactive model instead of, hey, it's VR, and let's do it. Of course, then our goal is kind of to bring all those positive aspects from images and storytelling to these interactive models. And it's about the lighting, the materials, the moody atmosphere in these immersive spaces. And I want to avoid that they just think in first place like, wow, VR, and I have to wear a headset and I don't like it, or my hair, or I don't feel comfortable. So we kind of created this interactive model, and they were able to use it with a controller or with a VR headset, or just a walkthrough on the computer with their yeah, notebook, iPhone, tablet, whatever they like. So to me, it was always important to create these visual stories when we jump into this interactive model and into this game engines. I didn't want to lose the yeah, let's say the soul of our work, but with Unreal it's now possible. I really like it, and it's also great that we have a quite big output now, like tool-wise, quite big output. So you have the walkthrough, as I said, and I can show you some of this later on. For the next project, we did the VR and for the controller, but let me show you this. That's kind of our first project, which we did 2 years ago. An apartment building in the beautiful Bavarian Alps. And of course, the goal was to sell apartments to clients. And yeah, the old world shaped as a showroom was still important. Yeah, people want to touch materials and they want to meet each other and they want to see the parquet. But with so many optional materials, we had trouble to render everything. Like we had to do 9 materials on the wall, 9 materials on the floor, and some parquet, like wood materials in the living room, and would have been really pain. Of course, yeah, every option, every variety to render is just crazy. But with Unreal was great. It was a great tool for it. Within a mouse click, you could just change floor and wall materials immediately. You could jump to different spots. So we also created the menus and could change the sun and of course also the view. We implemented again drone shots. Of course, the view was very important. So we took images and put it in. And this tool was actually the base for selling the homes. And the headset tool was kind of the additional one. So that's also what we found out 2021, that every 7th was into this VR. Yeah, every 7th. So all the others, they were not so sure about it. They were afraid, and the seller had to push them into this. So it was good that we did it with the controller mode, that they were open to whatever they like. Some people just really enjoyed it. They were inside for half an hour and longer, and some were a bit scared about it. And yeah, working with Unreal also means that we can export animations way faster. So with this old workflow, our old render workflow, we were working with Octane. The animation I'm going to show you, yeah, that took around, I think it would take about one day rendering on a computer or more, and now it takes half an hour or an hour, so we're way more flexible, and we don't really have a problem when the client comes to us and tells us here's something we have to change and to change. Of course, the facade didn't went through the construction department or the city councilor, or this was kind of the topic for this project, that they had to approve the design of the architecture. So the animation is also more about the facade and the architecture and how it integrates into the city. And yeah, we had to do this quite often. We had to export and export and export. So this animation was changed and exported many times. So we're really happy that the export didn't take that long. The style is more clean. There's no staffage and or some curtains, or also no people. It was really about to emphasize the architecture and to see how neighbors look like compared to the new development. And then we had COVID. I mean, I didn't have COVID, but we had the phase of COVID and nobody wanted to go to showrooms. There was also the moment when we started with streaming. That got more and more interesting to us. We started with a US firm and then switched later on to a Munich-based firm called Arch-Viz. They do great stuff, and you can basically stream your Unreal scene everywhere. It's a pixel streaming, and as long as you have a computer or tablet and internet, so it's very handy for clients. And that's kind of also that's why we call it hybrid. Of course, the client receives a walkthrough and a link, and either he's doing it on his computer or he's sending the link. The old stuff was the web, well, means old stuff, but the stuff we're doing longer is the web viewer on the left side, and then again all the others offline, and the showroom on the right side, to get kind of a idea how the tools work. So Future Space was a cool project, and actually, yeah, streaming was, with this idea, our next virtual level. So we're jumping from level to level. And here you see a project which we did with Colliers, an international agency for investment management and yeah, so on. So we call it Future Space. It's basically a blueprint for interactive office spaces which they are going to sell or will be rented. And with the interactive project, it's called, this one especially is called Colliers Future Work. It was in Berlin. We had the opportunity to build up 700 square meters, big office space, and to stream it. We have used it during the design phase and for presenting it, of course, for the clients. And of course, when you show stuff like this during design phases, then you have to take care of a lot of feedback. But yeah, everybody was happy in the end, so it's fine to get, I don't know, like 70 pages PowerPoint presentation with screenshots out of it. Because sure, the client sees everything, and then yeah, we get also feedback from everything. So here's a recorded screen. to get a feeling of the space and the functionality of the walkthrough. It's of course, while we're doing this during design phases and conceptual phases, the client also wanted to change things. So this product was not necessarily meant to be the final product, like final animation, everybody is happy and done, but it was also kind of a tool to discuss things with the client. Of course, this style, this planning or this office style is called new work, which means that we are not only doing those classic working rows, we have lounge chairs or sofa. We did it together with Steelcase, a nice furnishing manufacturer, also also sitting in Munich and also really big, because all those furniture pieces, they're of course real, you can buy them, which was a major point. Of course, when they see it and they like it, somebody has to buy it. It's not possible that we just throw in some creative artwork and nicely modeled stuff. Like you see here, we could also change areas from working areas to lounge areas. And yeah. So that's basically the point, right? You change colors, you're able to change the sun, the furniture, like everything. And it's, yeah, kind of a real-time configurator, which I personally really like. And last but not least, our beloved forest house. It's for a family, a good friend of mine. And so Unreal, or our walkthrough, also got the chance to play a role in the architectural field. So we're planning and visualizing this single family house in the middle of in the wood, in the forest. And yeah, just have a look at this small walkthrough. Yeah, there was also promotion, of course, this movie. So, but they actually even used it for they used it for getting a feeling of the spaces, and now it's under construction. We're looking forward to finish it next year. And yeah, then I just wanted to get just wanted this tool to get a feeling just for design decisions, I think. Yeah, so that's always hard for clients to make the right decisions, and that was really helpful for space, for materiality, for the geometry itself. Yeah, now they don't have shocking moments when they see the house, because they kind of, yeah, they know it. Okay, so what's next? It was a question, and to me, I personally think we kind of achieved different levels, and we haven't finished yet. And there's, I guess, something coming, and many people are talking about Midjourney or other AI tools. And I think we have also tomorrow this board where I'm actually really curious. I'm looking forward to see that and to listen to you guys. But I just want to give you a small input what we do with it, because to me, we were playing around with Midjourney and some Photoshop tools, and I hope I don't get problems with Chris Hemsworth, but all this stuff is now from Midjourney, and we used it for like theme parties for now. And on the right side, we try to change backgrounds from an existing image. So we started playing around with it in single pieces. Of course, we never made it in a proper way to sell the whole image. Yeah, and this from a colleague. I hope I can use it, Flo, from a wedding. This yeah, beautiful image which he created with the prompts on the bottom, but I'm sure it's not the visual which our clients need. And on the right side, we tried to create images for clients, but yeah, we still have problems with the architecture and with designing, with design details. We got kind of issues with the proper manufacturer of the sofa, the table, the lamps. It was kind of created, of course, and that makes it for us quite tricky to use it. Of course, our clients, they have at home, for instance, from Vitra or BMW Italia, they have just expensive furniture, and they kind of identify themselves with the image when they see these things, this staffage. So for us, it's important to show them this and not something created which we love, because it's some furniture piece. Of course, it takes a while until a 3D artist doing sofa, but it just needs to be this sofa from, I don't know, Minotti or so. So yeah, we used also some Photoshop AI background that worked better out for the background. We created some additional parts because the picture itself was not big enough, and created some variations of the ivy in the background and something like this. But it's more an additional tool instead of searching online some stock images. Yeah, for this it was pretty cool. And yeah, to me personally, I think for some abstract projects like the shop window from Ludwig Beck, this could work out for us right now, but we need some more control of the shown content. It's not possible just to send some living space. It needs to be exactly this living space, for instance. And we need this designer furniture. But sure, the pros are really good quality. It's very fast and it's useful for research. So what's my conclusion? Don't be afraid of losing jobs. I'm sorry that I'm just saying it like this, but I'm reading this all the time online when it's about AI, and yeah, well, maybe in the future, but we're not only here to produce and produce and produce. We're also consultants. The clients want us to give up some, to bring our opinion in the discussion. And I think AI tools, they need some prompts, and when the prompts are not good, then the result is not good. So don't worry too much about the AI, and because it would block you and then you say no right away. Yeah, I think maybe the tool just can give us advantage. And the past has shown that the new technology improves processes very often, and helps as an opportunity to provide the workflow. So I would, the most important to me is don't let the tools determine which or how visual communication has to be or to look like. Yeah, it's in our responsibility. We have to come up with the ideas and the creativity. So own ideas and creativity before tools. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you got questions or anything, feel free to ask, and stay connected with me, with us at Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you like.
Alrighty, Markus, Thanks a lot for the presentation. Very inspiring stuff, and also kind of makes me remember a little bit the time when I was working in architectural visualizations many years back, and it's like, yeah, I learned a lot during that time.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, cool. So let's dive into some questions for Markus. There is one, just one popped in. Let's dive into those. All right. So first one comes from Alvin, and he asks, we have been talking some with the local commune about the solution that would allow them to visualize urban planning projects within the constraints of zoning laws, so the buildings can be built in that area. Now they are a game design education or educator. It's not absolutely perfectly English. Let me try and make a bit more, translate it a little bit better. And our sense is that it would be something that we would like to approach in Unreal. We would like to keep the visual storytelling bit and be able to visualize a project under different conditions. So like, for example, time of year, time of day, etc. Do you have any experience or suggestions in that area? So basically dynamic visualizations for urban planning projects, but also crossed with these conditions of the zoning law constraints.
And what is the target area or the target group, I would say? Did he write that? Because I think that's quite important that we see who is this for? Like, is it for city councilor, or is it for a developer, or whoever? Of course,
I'm not perfectly sure. It reads like the local commune, so it could be, or okay, it's a developer. He just wrote it's for a developer.
Okay, great. Because then I would say it's definitely possible. Unreal is capable of doing things like this. We did it with the sun, and the nice part is that we have that we're working also with Unreal developers together, so that you have a huge freedom. It's not like working in Twinmotion, Enscape, and so on, but that you really open up your sketchbook and you decide what you want to do. So sure, it's the configurator, which we had, is also capable of doing things like this. And even like winter time and everything, you can throw in whatever you like. It's really powerful tool. And if it's urban, or if it's just a house, a single apartment building, I think that does not really matter. Of course, you can put in whatever you like. Yeah, sometimes where like the one project was an office, yeah, and you just did the interior walking around, and the other thing was exterior, like the one animation I showed. You were also able walking around there, which was an urban style in a way. So yeah, the mode of the camera would be important if you're flying around like a drone, or if you can walk around like a pedestrian. But you can, yeah, you can create stuff like this, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, usually in the context of visualizing architecture together with zoning restrictions, usually you want to have multiple scenarios that you visualize, because you have different constraints which allow different building typologies. That's also something that, for example, Kenneth was in Kenneth's video before. Right. So there are obviously also, or depending on, even if you would need to visualize, let's say, the zoning volumes as geometries, all of these things definitely would be possible in Unreal, or in like in a visualization platform that is, for example, derived from Unreal or your own implementation or your own version of your platform.
Yeah, and what I really like with that one is that you also can jump in early phases. Of course, with this kind of configuration, you allow yourself or your client also to turn things on, turn things off. What happens in case you turn it on? What else can you see? Which layer can be on top? So it's a huge toolbox. And I mean, what I kind of figured out was that when you have a good developer, and that's something new for architectural visualization, and we have many people asking for that if we're doing it, and I definitely say, of course, it's in our team. It's it's a freelancer, but the 3D artist as an architect is not usually capable of developing or programming stuff like this. So at this point, it comes to a quite nice team event, a team happening creation. So 3-4 artists get together. One graphic designer is doing the menu, and at that time it's kind of exploding. Like, that's really refreshing and inspiring compared to the basic workflow which we do. Of course, my goal is always that the 3D artist is capable of doing everything, and when it comes to 2D images. But when we're talking about Unreal, then he's not capable of doing everything. So this thing in between that creates something really cool, like the menus and the functionality, and you start thinking of stuff which you never had in mind before as an artist, or let's say as a visual artist for architectural visualization.
Oh, and definitely in those visualization projects also, especially if it's kind of a new endeavor to collaborate with, for example, such a developer, you need to be aware of the implementation time and cost and the expertise that you need. So it's certainly possible, right? But it needs to be planned, and you need to have the according staff to do it.
Yeah, sure. And of course, Unreal is happy if you throw in geometry, but it's more happy when the geometry is optimized. So, and you don't have but then it comes to game and game engine. That's just something different. So there are more or different restrictions which you have to take care of. It's not just a throwing in and everybody's happy thing. Definitely not. Maybe it looked too easy in my presentation, but yeah, the new Unreal is, yeah, well, maybe that's just too technical, but yeah, it's possible. Zones are possible, and time and everything. And yeah, feel free to send me a message if you got further questions. Happy to help.
There's actually another question that has come in from Roman. Interesting presentation, I agree. How do you go about taking HDRIs for the location if you use any for the renderings? I imagine it could be an interesting solution, considering you probably need a high quality, large resolution image, while it is not too much effort to capture.
Well, no, we didn't do HDRIs. We just did backplates in a sphere. So with the drone shots, it was the background.
Yeah, maybe I can also expand a little bit on that. So the thing is, HDRIs might very well be used for quite very realistic lighting in general in rendering for global illumination and so on, to get a very natural light. The thing is just, at least from my experience in architectural visualization, usually the lighting conditions that you're after is because everything is about storytelling. So it's not necessarily about photorealistic lighting per se. So for example, if you compare architectural visualizations to actual photographs, the colors are differently. Usually things are a lot brighter and than in reality. That's just a human psychology trick to make the architecture more presentable. So for that matter, kind of physically correct lighting is not necessarily very important in architectural visualization for lighting realistically. And the second aspect is that the emotion conveyed through the images is really important, that there's that the backgrounds are, let's say, realistic but not too intrusive. So in the sense of, you always have a little bit of haze. You see the background as it appears in reality, but you're always trying to hide it a tiny little bit, so that you actually concentrate more on the visualization of the room itself, because architectural visualization is about the room. And so for that, you very often also don't really care about the precise sky or the precise, absolute precise perspective of what you would see, if it's not really helping to sell a specific aspect of the story.
Yeah, and again, it's also about the client. Of course, when it comes to architects and architectural offices, they need more moody styles, the foggy way. They don't want to show everything in a precise way, because their clients ask for, they say, man, wow, the facade looks really expensive, huh? Because so they try to get rid of these details. And when it comes to developer and the phase right before building it and selling property or selling houses, then it needs to be precise. So it's always about the target group, and but we're always working with HDRIs. Yeah, not that it's something misunderstanding. We're just not creating them on our own. There's a lot good stuff on the market, and we use it because the HDRI has way more information, light information, instead of just the sun with some color and one direction, and that's it. So it's really hard to do a basic physical sun into a scene, and then still to make it look emotional, beautiful, and moody. So that's why we have, but we have with HDRIs, we have many different daytimes and colors, and every HDRI is different. So there will be, well, I know how to create them, but there will be way too much, because there's so much great stuff online.
It's so interesting. I just remembered, right? Or so it just, I mentioned you can use HDRIs for lighting. Obviously, sure, that works. And then you said you're using HDRIs all the time, because otherwise you don't get realistic lighting. That's so interesting, because I immediately thought back when I was I worked in architectural visualization in 2009, but did a lot of rendering before, and there you didn't have efficient global illumination, right? So you had to figure out how to set the lights and create the global illumination by placing lights realistically. And all these things are now kind of taken for granted, and it's super interesting. It's super interesting.
That's why I did this slide at the beginning with the really rendered and photoshopped, and how it looked in a raw, because I think people forget where we're kind of coming from, right? Because that's we really have to focus on the important things, and that's materiality and that's lighting, and to make it kind of look in a natural way. That's kind of our goal in the office. And some are just too confused by all those tools and possibilities, and so that's why I wanted to show you just the beginning, how we learned, or how I learned it. And I'm sure you might also learned it like this, that we had to focus on these important points, and in the end, the render took like 3, 4, 5 hours. It took really long, and now it's done within 15 minutes. So that's kind of the important stuff, that we can now focus on our points like lighting, make it just better, and you cannot go for a walk because image is done, and let's optimize it. And also this way of changing things in real time, it's something great. Yeah, but it just popped up, I don't know, 2016, 2015 with V-Ray and Octane later on, and before we did so much in Photoshop. But I don't want to miss it, and I'm really happy that we have artists here which still love Photoshop and do post-production, because you can make so much out of it, and to just bring the best of the image out, and that's great.
Sweet. All right, let me check. There's currently no more other question. Let's do one more. Let's do one more question. I made a couple of notes here. So for you and your business, kind of, you made the comparison kind of between the classical renderings and the immersive technologies. Do you see some trends in client types that are more interested in the immersive type of let's say visualization or experience, that are more keen on using that? Because you described some people are reluctant, some people are curious and want to try it, but are there some client types that are more specifically interested in these newer, let's say, media types or communication methodologies because they have a certain advantage of it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was also thinking about that and was asking myself, of course, that means if we find this answer, then we find a solution to get to those people. In the beginning, I thought it's about the age, but when we talked to the developer or the seller of the property, of the apartment house, where we did the VR and everything, we found out that it was definitely not the age. They were like a guy in 60, beginning 70s, and he was more than half an hour in this building and not really running around, more teleporting. So the way they do it, the method they do it, it's of course not this gaming thing, but so it's not the age. And yeah, the game changer is the game industry, I would say. So the entertainment business, where we hit VR quite often, and we don't have clients playing VR games. So I think this one is also not really a good bridge. But what I saw quite often was the car industry. So when we have some events, car industry is really straightforward with that. They also, during design development, when you buy a car for 150, 200,000 euros, people can sit in it, or if you go to an exhibition or something, then they can sit in the car with VR. Audi is even doing this VR stuff when you're driving around, pretending that kids will love it. Not sure about it, but that could be kind of this anchor, this connection, yeah, which helps us to go more into, because I also like to compare our tools with cars and the configuration. So different options and different qualities, and something is more expensive, something is less expensive. Yeah, it's the same if you buy Volkswagen or Audi or Porsche or Lamborghini, and it's the same with those tools. You can do basically everything if you pay enough, then it's all yours, right? And if we are talking about these images, then clients say quite often, "Ah, yeah, right. That's I did those configurations in my car, and can we do this also in VR or with a controller?" And then we are kind of on the same page, right? We're with the same language. So that's something. But besides that, it's really, of course, younger seller. They like to try things out. Agents, or if they're around 30, 40-ish, then they try things out. But as I said, it's also the old client also likes it. But the architecture industry is really slow. That's I'm really honest with that, because they're still happy with 2D images, and to me it's totally fine. I love 2D images. It's not that I jump on Unreal and say everything else which we did is just not great, not good anymore. We just do Unreal. That's not the point. I still love it, and we're doing it when we continue doing it. But I think the pressure in entertainment industry is much bigger to do something new, to be even more creative, and it has to be the latest stuff to sell it. And that's not the way it works in architectural visualization. Definitely not.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree. But yeah, I mean, this endeavor, or the whole presentation was such a great example of why I think that the 3D Environment Conference, with different, or to make it industry agnostic, is such an interesting approach, because you can talk about something that is very classic, like architectural visualization has been around for a long time, and you can suddenly start talking about games, game experience, serious games, configurators. Then suddenly you're with car configurators, with VR experiences in the car industry. This is why it's so cool to talk about these things, because everything seems to be, or everything is connected.
Yeah,
that's to me that's enormously fascinating.
Yeah,
sweet. Yeah, I would say let's wrap it up at this point. Markus, thank you so much. If you have the time, jump over a little bit to Discord if you have it. If there are some open questions, we are actually going to deliver them to your doorstep.
Sure.
Cool. Let us do a quick break now. I'm going to start the timer again, and then we are coming back for Oliver's presentation. Enjoy the break.